Hi everyone, it's me, Darlene. I am back with another quilt. I have been torn as to what to make. I have several quilts designed, and I have fun designing them, but then I'm like, okay, this is a little bit complicated. Not that I think it's too complicated for others, but it's kind of complicated for me because I don't want something too time consuming. So then I start over and I don't know. I don't want something too simple. Sometimes I like simple, but I decided on something. I have no plan for myself yet, but I think you might like it. Okay, this is half square triangles. That's all we're making. And then, you know, we can do a million things with half square triangles. So this is not a pattern that I came up with. It's just a simple spiral kind of thing. I don't know if that's what they call it. I looked around a little bit and I really couldn't find anything where, you know, it was clear enough to count. I didn't really look hard. I don't know if there are other patterns out there, but I wanted to make my own pattern. That's the reason I like doing this, is because it's fun. But I couldn't do triangles on the program that I use, so I had to use paint, ancient paint. And there's no way to like just set up grids, so I had to just copy, paste, rotate things, put them together, so it's a little bit sloppy. I hope you do forgive me for that. First, let me just show you. Now, ignore the black lines. The black lines are there just for those of you who get my pattern so that you can, you know, see each square which way you're going to turn the half square triangle. I will show you how to do half square triangles. No sewing in this video. Just talking about this so you can get ready, get mentally ready. Start thinking about what you want for fabric, stuff like that. Okay, so let's start with this. First of all, this is adjustable in many ways. You can decide how big you want your half square triangles to be. Obviously, the bigger they are, then the bigger the quilt will be. Also, you can decide how many rows or columns you want to do. For instance, I'm not doing this whole big thing. I made it bigger so you really could see the pattern, but I am going to be cutting this down. And when I say cutting it down, I mean literally, I'll be cutting part of this pattern out, and that is going to be the quilt that I make. I don't know what size blocks I'll be using yet. I will tell you guys all that in the next video, like what size blocks I'm using and how many rows and columns and all that. I don't like things that are like centered. I like things that are off-centered. So I did it this way though in case others prefer this, but when I cut mine, and there are others in the world who do it this way, I'm going to have the spiral be more to the side, maybe to the side bottom. So I might be cutting like, it's hard for me to show you, but you'll see. You know, I'll probably be cutting like here and here or something like that, and then just doing this part of it. I don't know yet. And the other thing, okay, one of the colors needs to be the same. Like, let's talk about the dark gray. That could be, I was going to say should be, but nothing should be anything other than what you want. It could be all the same. I think that's what I'm doing. I might, if I have enough, because I'm so low on batik, but I had one print that I saved some in case. I might be using a brown batik that has a little bit of color changes in it. I might be using that for my dark part of the spiral. The light part of the spiral, again, because I don't have a lot of different things pre-cut, because I sell it all, so I'll probably pick one fabric. And again, I don't know, maybe a few. But what I'm trying to say is the light can also be all the same. Like you could have just black and white, or you could have black prints and white prints, like white on white, tone on tone, that kind of thing. Or those of you who buy my squares that I sell, 5-inch, and now 6.5-inch, you could use some of those to make your half square triangles. Now remember, when we start with like a 6.5-inch square for a half square triangle, we're going to be doing the method of, you know, just putting them together and drawing the line and sewing on both sides of the line and cutting. I'll be showing that. So we make 2 half square triangles at once. If you start with 6.5-inch squares, you end up with like a 6-inch half square triangle block, and then when we sew those together, then we're losing seam allowances there too. So what I plan on doing, because this is not available for anyone right now, but what I plan on doing is giving you guys this and then telling you the sizes you can make, like if you were to use, oh, do I really want to do all this math? Yes, I love math, it's just the time. Do you want to do the math? No, okay, so see, I'll do it for you. I'll give you the size of this exact pattern, you know, if you were to make all these rows, how it would end up if you were to use like the 5-inch squares that I sell and the 6.5-inch squares. I'll at least do that, but then you could always go smaller if you want, bigger if you want. It's all up to you. Just like the fabric, it's all up to you. You don't have to do one, you know, the dark, all the same print. You could just do it that scrappy also, but just use all darks, and then the other one scrappy but all lights. It'll work, but obviously the spiral is going to show more if, you know, there's a lot of contrast. So I will be doing all one fabric for the darks, and I'm not sure yet for the light. If I have enough batiks that are light and similar, because I only have small pieces left, except for that brown that I kept. And I don't even have any muslin. I'm out of so many things. I just got 279 yards of fabric, but that's all for resale. I don't want to touch it. Okay. So, you know what I mean? We just have decisions to make. And let me just think if there's anything else I want to tell you. I guess I just wanted to explain, like you can see there's a lot of gaps and stuff. That's because of the program that I was using. If you decide to get this pattern, you will see what it looks like without the grid, because I have that image, but then you'll get it with the grid also. So I don't think there's really too much else that I want to tell you guys. I would say please don't start this yet, but you can start to look for your fabric, and I will be here with the next episode really quick. I just couldn't get started until I got started. It's like I have to do this part first, and then I can say, all right, I know what I'm doing, I have committed, and then I will go and start. And in the next episode, I'll show you how I make the half square triangles, and we'll just go from there. All right, guys? Oh, and about the patterns, because some people say, a lot of people say, and I want to mention this, when I say the details are in the link down below, or the details are down below in the description box, when you're on a device, at least on an iPad, and I'm sure maybe on a phone, some people say there was no information. A lot of people say this. A lot. And I do hear other content creators explaining, you have to tap like under the video on the title or whatever, and then something opens up. You know, there's things hidden in this world. And then you will see the details. To get my patterns, I will tell you, you have to be a $1 patron, $1 per month on my Patreon, and the details are down below if you want to join up for $1, whether I make 1 per month or 3 per month. I'm trying to hold myself to not more than 1 per month, but I generally do a little bit more. I also want to start just designing just some simple quilt blocks where I'm not necessarily even going to, you know, make a quilt, maybe not even the block, because I know what my people buy. They buy a lot of 2-inch squares, and now 3.5-inch squares, 5-inch squares, some strips or whatever. So I might just come up with some simple blocks and say, hey, look, this is how you can use some of the stuff you've probably purchased from me. And then if they like the block, they can just make a quilt whatever size they want. All right, so consider joining up, and I guess that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye. Oh, subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.